Hello, everybody. Here we are coming live today. I'm going to make sure that I'm actually on because, Facebook tells you things and that's not always true. Yep, we're on. And look, we have Sandra and we have Amy. Yeah, so nice to see you. So welcome, everyone. We're here to talk about intuitively March's energies, talk about a little bit of the information that I wanted to share with you about this March forward, because March is a huge month. And I know both of my good friends sitting here have been feeling, what is this? What is this? And we keep talking about it. And we are crossing into, especially over the next 4 weeks, once in a lifetime energies. March itself is already had a lot of things, and I do a thing with Joe Monkman, and we've been talking since August about March. And so two big players are happening in March. One is Saturn is crossing into Pisces, and Saturn moves about every 3 years into a sign. And Saturn, by some astrologers, stories will tell you that it's the most important planet because it's about our boundaries. And in our lifetime, we have 2. If we live long enough, we have 3 Saturn returns, which are restructuring of our lives. So anytime Saturn moves into an energy, it's about new boundaries, new information. And the other one is Pluto. And Pluto takes 246 years to go through all 12 houses. And the last time that Pluto dipped its toe into Aquarius was when the Constitution was written, when George Washington was elected as president. And it took me a while to do this today, but I found out that when Saturn went into Pisces and Pluto was in Aquarius, was exactly when the Constitution was written and ratified, was exactly when Britain started to colonize India, was exactly when the first president and was elected. And Pluto is in a sign. It will be in this sign until 2044 when it crosses. So some of us may not see Pluto in another sign again, or we'll be old, really old at that point. So these are really big energies. And what's really important about them, which is why we're all here to talk about them, is that we're at a point in our lives, in our human evolution, that we're ready for a bigger transformation, a bigger energy in awareness that happens. So I'm going to just give you a little bit of a background. Amy, you got your, she's got her astrological, her chart. And if you have your chart, we'll just wait a second. If you have a chance to have your astrological chart, grab it. If you have your calendar, grab it, because we're going to go over some dates that you might want to become aware of. But I'm going to start with throwing Sandra under the bus and kind of tell Sandra, can you kind of tell her what you've just come from? And, we're going to kind of do this for everybody.
What? What you've just come from? Well, let's see. I was born in 1963. What I've just come from. Really, I just really wanted to, hi everybody. I just really wanted to step into the energy of everybody really recognizing that there is a lot of energy happening. There is a lot of shifting occurring. And if you choose to be in awareness of some of the things that are synchronistic, then you will have a better chance of feeling like you are in some sort of control. Not that we need to be in control of our life, but you'll feel like you're more balanced. It's in all this stuff that we're being bombarded by. If you're not really paying attention, then it feels like you might be like a boat on the ocean, yet you're getting hit by the winds from all different directions. And the great call for rest is coming up, the great call possibly for changing in diet, changing in movement. And there's just a lot of synchronicities happening. Like I had a day yesterday where I was driving, but before I drove, I downloaded, I believe it was 4 podcasts. One of them was just a really fun one, but the other 3 were like literally exact things that I am either in the process of learning, process of reading, or that Kitty and I have been in deep conversations about. Like, it's just absolutely fantastic. what's going on. And I'm not really sure what you want from me specifically when you say throw you under the bus, because I could literally talk for an hour about, I did this to my girlfriend today. Oh man, if you want to hear what's going on with me, this is what's been happening. And it's just like a couple things, maybe, and that's what I'll allude to, is a couple things. One is the time of the sixth sun and the Heaven's Cross and the Crimson Circle. This is kind of where Kitty and I really started to understand, whoa, there's a lot going on here, because she was looking at Heaven's Cross and the Crimson Circle, and I knew about this like what, 4 years ago kind of thing, and been watching the time of the sixth sun. Then a book came into both of our awareness by Sarah Brestman Cosme about the trail to the star people, and just the chapters and the things that are unfolding in there. The harmonic light 144 pattern is something that I'm personally going to be really delving deeper into, and that just came to a head. I believe it was Thursday, where we had a very brief conversation about, oh, I wonder what this is. And Kitty's like, looks off to the side, and she goes, oh, it's number 144 is in the Fibonacci. Well, I've been working with the Fibonacci for, years. Then I looked up what it meant, and it's the speed of light. And so I sent her that how and then we both are reading this book. And in chapter 10 of this book, they're talking about how gosh, how do I even say this? How extraterrestrials, how light beings are coming into this dimension. It is because of the speed of light that they're coming in, and we're seeing them. It's a portal in, and it's a portal for us to see things out. And it's just time and time again, this is how the information has been coming through. So pay attention to what you're talking about, pay attention to what you're seeing, reading, hearing. And if somebody else is saying the same thing, you are well on your way to really shifting in this energy in a comfortable way. When people are getting told, well, there's going to be those that are left behind, recognize that it's not about being left behind. It's more about you're not in awareness, right? So step into that awareness so that you feel like you're moving along with the crowd of whatever this happens to be. And I'm actually taking that way further. I've been setting the intention this year, instead of just being in this awareness, I'm choosing to accelerate my spiritual journey. It only came through in the last couple of days that I've been asking for that in a beautiful way. However, I needed to get even more specific. I've been asking to move from the human concept of things into this ancient wisdom. But so many people, when they think of ancient wisdom, they're still thinking about human ancient wisdom. One of the Q&As I heard, the answer specifically back to me was, I could go so much further, but I'd be going into the cosmos. Well, that is what I needed to hear, because now I'm recognizing that I'm asking in the wrong way. I don't want to go into ancient wisdom as humans know it. I want to go into ancient wisdom as the cosmic, the galactic. And that's why Kitty calls me the galactic shaman, is so that I can step into that energy in a beautiful, freeing manner.
Well, and now it's my turn to do this to Amy. So Amy, can you share what your words of the day are? Because you and I have had these amazing transactions.
Yeah. Well, first I want to say that Sandra, just her whole just excitement and the energy that I could feel off of you is exactly what's out there right now. So in the awareness, I think, like what you said, is so important, because if we can become aware of that, it's not like you said, it's not like you're being left behind, but becoming aware of it and how do we use it. And the other thing that you said is asking in a certain way for what you want, because there is so much energy out there. And I was in a meditation and I saw this great big chariot. It almost reminded me of the tarot card, the chariot. And excuse me. And then as these chariots were flying towards me, I heard that they were chariots of angels that are just ready to come in. They're just ready to come in. So I think that it's really important to kind of think about how you're asking for what you want, and maybe not limit it to just, I want it in this little box, but just kind of say, you know what, I'm ready to look at this, and however spirit's going to bring it to me. Do you mean, okay, but I just had to comment on that, because when you were talking, I was just like, oh my gosh, yeah. Yes, I'm feeling that. Did you mean the words we picked for the year?
Yeah, because I'm going to.
Mine was limitless.
Mhm.
because that's how I'm feeling. I don't want to put limits on things. I don't want to say, I want this, but I want it this certain way. So that's why, again, how you ask for it is so important. So my words are limitless. And then I had to tag on magic. So that's where I'm at this.
Amy's going to pull us some cards after I go through this.
I can.
And we have, you know, there's been some amazingly magical things. Sandra's, Amy and I have had this really interesting connection that we never thought we were going to have, where I had a dream and she was able to take the dream, and actually there was a whole series of events that were the dream and I knew nothing about them. And from that, both of us have grown and taken us. That's what this energy this next month really, really is about. My words are guidance this year, and grace and confirmation, wanting to know, am I being guided where we're going? And so tonight I asked both of these amazing ladies to come on just to react and to talk, and because there is so much coming. And the belief I truly have is we are holding a space right now, and we are learning about how we're taking care of our space and stepping into it. And that's our job right now. And if we do that, we're holding this beam into this collective energy as the world is going into a bigger transformation. There are going to be instances where you'll think, oh my, but what I magnify is what I'm creating. And this Saturn and Pluto energy to talk about is a really big part of it, and to maybe have the information allows us to really take a look at where it is. So I'm just going to briefly talk about Saturn. Saturn is the planet of restrictions. It's our boundaries. It is also our patience. It is what focuses us. That is a piece of it. It tends to be more on the authoritarian, the bigger picture of things. And it's moving into Pisces, where it's not particularly comfortable. So welcome to our world as human beings. We are marching forward in something that's not really overly that comfortable, because Saturn wants us to have boundaries and restrictions, and it's moving into Pisces, which wants this flow and to use our dream and our imagination. And they are forming a partnership that historically has done amazing things across the years. So Saturn in Pisces is the turn of the century. It's the early part of the 30s. It is the 60s, it is the 90s, and it is now. And at this point, Saturn in both the turn of the century and in the 60s and now is traveling with Jupiter. So if we look back at when it was in the turn of the century, it was exciting. It was all these new technologies. Saturn takes on technologies. Saturn takes on medical, pharmacology. Saturn takes on our connectedness, our structures, and Saturn takes on some laws, some information. And so when you look at that period of time, think about the turn of the century. That was when technology, that's when when Saturn was in Pisces, that's when the Model T was introduced. That is when the national park system was set up. All of these things are happening. In the 30s, it was the Depression, but that's also where the work, Social Security got started. Work, what was it called? The work groups. That was also when we started to change our legislation. We also had Saturn has Pisces structure trying to restrict religions and freedoms. That is also a piece of this, because it is that restriction. So we had prohibition. We had, laws that were being passed about fair work practices. And then we come to the 60s, and most of us know the 60s. That was the free love, but also in the 60s, Lyndon Baines Johnson introduced spending programs. There was the Voters' Right Act. There was all of the civil liberty pushing of trying to push those boundaries, expanding what had been typically accepted practices. Again, that's when it was traveling with Jupiter, where it wants the practices to be pushed to expand in our flow. And then the 90s came, and the 90s, by the way, the internet itself is experiencing its Saturn return. It is coming on 30 years old. So what is that going to mean for right now? What's going to happen in our legislation with how we look at the internet, how we look at what flows for us? So Amy, where is Saturn in your chart?
Saturn is in Aquarius.
Oh,
My Saturn, but yes, it's in Aquarius.
and what house?
Oh, sorry, the 6th house.
So
Exactly like mine.
yeah, it is. That's exactly what yours is. Sandra, you answer this. So her 6th house is about looking at where she's going to be most comfortable, not trying to do all of the things that she's been trying to do, but where is she most comfortable? It's function and what works for me over trying to get all of the pieces working. It's to get out of the workaholic and spend my time where I want to spend it. And in Aquarius,
It's just on that little mark though, so it's almost in my 7th house.
so it's almost also, so it's your relationships with work and with systems and how that steps forward. And what Saturn in the 6th house usually wants to do is it wants to get everything done and put everything perfectly, and it's always on itself. And because she's also a Taurus, so she's got that Taurus piece of that. And so this learning for Saturn in Pisces is, no, I got to prioritize this. I got to figure out what piece, this is where my conversation is. What am I going to keep? What am I going to picture it? Am I going to really build? It's not about everything. It's about how I take care of my health. It's about how I take care of and making priorities. And in Aquarius, it's about trusting the universe, that I really can let go of those pieces. I really can go with the flow, and that I can turn my dreams into reality if I don't try to do everything and figure out what those pieces are, and I take care of myself. Go ahead, Sandra.
Yeah, I just want to kind of expand on this a little bit, because I think this is where conversations need to take place, just like you're saying, right? So using myself as the example, I was feeling very uncomfortable over these last couple of days, and it was like, okay, what's going on? What am I feeling? You know, I've had lots of rest. I'm exercising. I'm supposedly eating better. But yesterday, like, I literally got in a car and did a 9-hour drive, and I grabbed 4 podcasts to listen to on the way. In fact, I grabbed 8 podcasts on the way. But in that, like, I could have stayed home and sat on the computer, and Lord knows what would have come through. Like, I really have no idea if I'd have sat at the computer and worked on my business. But instead, I moved myself, and we don't have to get as drastic as I did and move into a car and go for a 9-hour drive. But when you get yourself out of whatever situation you're in, if you're feeling uncomfortable in something, move out of the house and go for a walk, move into a different room, just do something that's going to be out of your norm that you would normally do in that case, because it gives the opportunity for something to come in. Just like these podcasts that I randomly downloaded. Nobody had said these podcasts. I randomly downloaded them, and they were everything that I personally needed to hear right now because of the journey that I'm on right now. So that's what Kitty's talking about when she's saying that it may not be comfortable. It may be, and it's about movement. I love that relationship with business. I know that I'm also going through a transition with my business stuff. There's transitions going on in my house with regards to things that we want to do. So that there's a lot of really interesting energy, but we have to get out of our own way and stop doing something that we always fall back on, that, oh, I'm going to have something to eat then since I feel uncomfortable, or oh, I'm going to just go do this and lay in front of the TV instead. No, move something, move in some manner. Okay. What do you think of that, Amy? Did you want to add to that? Because I know you're going through a transition too, right?
I think that's totally spot on. When you get into that uncomfortable or you're not sure, don't do what you've always done. Do something different. So yeah, so like you said, go out for a walk. Don't sit there and go, oh, I'm just going to eat some cookies or something. Do something different and move. I love that. I think that feels spot on to me. That feels really,
and
that
since
really
you're both
resonates
this
with me.
the 6th house Saturn, Saturn is this planet of restrictions. Like I said, this is not a comfortable partnership. And that's what we're all going to be experiencing is how do I push myself into a different kind of flow, into what I dream to be, and create the structure so they become more comfortable. This is what this Saturn in Pisces energy, when we think about the 60s, and one of the things like in the 90s that started to happen, that was when we had the Waco tragedy. That was a good example of Saturn where beliefs were pushing against what works. And one of the things we're going to see is we'll see people reacting to this Saturn in Pisces. What do I do? How do I push? Not being able to understand. I just have to get out and move. I have to prioritize what my pieces are. We're going to see people become right fighters about their faith because Pisces is the sign of faith. That is
Aren't we
why.
already, but yeah.
Oh, even more. Even more,
magnified
like trying to
more.
legislate what that is. And we've been hearing that come up more and more. But we also have the other piece that we're holding of, no, these are our beliefs. We're accepting a bigger picture, holding this space so that expansion starts to get through, like the 60s. Think about what the 60s did, where they went from, and, you know, and what they dreamed that actually became. Go ahead, Sandra.
I think you're highlighting the 60s is really important because there was a lot going on there with war dodgers. There was also the flower power. There was a lot of different things happening then. And people were really stepping into what's right for me. So one of the things that I'm finding for my own journey right now is that everything that I've been working on over these last 4 years, I'm actually getting major shifts in them, that those things aren't necessarily the things that I'm being asked to move forward with in the way that they were. I may still have them, but they may look really a lot different than what I've been doing in the past. So be open to letting things shift and change instead of getting really stuck in that way, in that manner.
And realize that Saturn's very male, very expressive, and Pisces is very female, very much about but it's also about finishing things up. Pisces is coming to help us finish these structural changes, finish these visions that we've been working on. I mean, so when Saturn moved into Aquarius was the week the world shut down. Honestly, it was that week. It was March 22nd. And so what it did is it structured the vision of how we saw ourselves and how we had to learn new ways. It focuses. So this is the structuring of how we flow, how we are in our life emotionally, and it's all of the lessons that we've been traveling through. So it really is about how we approach our dreams. So it's very appropriate that, yes, this is do something different. If you don't have the perspective, do it differently and see where you can get things to move on and flow. And anybody, if you look at your placements of Aquarius, what house it's on, yours is the 6th house, right, Amy? Because we just did your Saturn.
Well, I'm just looking at it. Aquarius is it's both in the 7th and the 6th.
In the 6th. So those are also other places that you have an opportunity to look at this structure. So in relationships for you and in systems, the body systems, all the systems, physical, mental, social, you know, and in 6th house is also service. So that's a place.
And I'm feeling all of it. Thank you.
You are feeling all of it. And so these are places in your chart where these conversations will be taking place in the energy. Where can I move into this? Oh, that's actually Pluto. I need you to look for Pisces. Where's Pisces in your chart?
Oh, my Pisces is in the 8th.
So Pisces, wherever Pisces is because of the Saturn. So your Saturn is in Aquarius. Well, you really got a very interesting strongness in that chart, because where Aquarius and Pisces are right now in this next 2 years is really quite lit up. And so your Pisces energy is also allowing you to transform, because that's the house that it's covering. It is covering. So that conversation for you in Saturn structure is, what am I going to transform in my structures, is also happening, because that's the Pisces energy. That's the place on her chart where she flows. And so, and this is about flow. This is about change. When Saturn goes through Pisces, it is, though it's not comfortable, it's patient. It's about pulling off our rose-colored glasses and really looking at our interconnectedness and dreaming what it can be. We're washing away our fractalization. We're looking for what makes us flow. And Saturn helps focus that flow. Now, again, that doesn't mean everybody's going to go, yay! You know, it's has us looking at our boundaries.
You used a couple words earlier today in a different area. And when you said Pisces and Saturn, you used the words reaching dreams and reaching potential as
Right.
well.
Saturn is the planet of reaching our potential. We need Saturn, you know. We make friends with where our Saturn is and what houses it appears in, allows us to look at those structures, and that's where that conversation takes place for us. And so it's, you know, I go back to the 60s and now, because the 60s, we happen to have Jupiter, that planet of expansion, traveling with it. And it's going to be in Taurus most of the time it's traveling with it. So it really is about what expands us in our values, what expands us in our beauty, because Taurus is ruled by Venus. And so really what it is that we value, this is a bigger call. So when I go back and I look at that, Saturn was in Pisces when they wrote the Constitution, something completely and utterly brand new about government. Now we're talking about at a much more exponential level of where we're willing to put our energy with that Saturn in Pisces. How do I reach that flow? And then we're going to go into a whole new cycle, because we'll start over again in Aries. So we have an opportunity right now to do it differently. But part of that is holding it for ourselves. What is that going to look like? So the other player that is stepping up, that is quite huge, even bigger, is that Pluto energy. Now, Pluto is the planet of transformation. Pluto is about where you're scared a little bit and how you transform that, how you bring that forward. Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, and it's about transformation. It's about going into the darkness to get the light, death, rebirth. And again, the last time that Pluto went into this Aquarian energy, leaving Capricorn. And by the way, they're all going to be sitting this next month at 0. And 0 is new karma. That's why it's very important that we hold. We may not know exactly what it looks like, but we have the dream, we have the integrity of not being activated by the things that aren't in our purview. When we talk about Pisces, we talk about the denser being suffering, addictions, any kind of addiction, not just physical. It can be addiction into, you know, love, addiction into controlling other people. And Pluto is about power. Pluto in Aquarius is about understanding that the power comes from within. It's universally transformative. It's about ideas flowing. It's very feminine in its nature. It's about how we evolve our truths of life. It shows us where we are, our essence, and asks us to change it and become the better version of ourselves. And in Pluto in Aquarius, the mind is very important, more so than the emotional, though, even though that Scorpion energy is about the deep emotions. It's about how we think about it, how we approach ourselves. So the last time Pluto was in, it was 1778 to 1798. And when Saturn was in Pisces, it was exactly the time of the Constitution. The first president was elected. Many things across the world were in transformative of what the vision of what we were going to be was. And so it's important then to be looking at where Pluto is in your chart. By the way, Pluto is the one that looks like it's got, you know, it's either a PL, depending what chart you have, or it looks like it's doing a touchdown sign. And it is ruled by Scorpio, which is also the transformative energy. It is the 8th house energy. So go ahead.
Okay, so some of the things that I heard as you were talking about this too is that it's the evolution of the mind. Now, let me put this into the layman's terms as I'm hearing it with regards to myself and how I've been shifting through the energy of all of this. for those of you who know me, you know I am all about self-love. I'm about the I am love mantra. I'm about really looking into yourself and discovering yourself. And through these last months, I have been going through this my own evolution, and I'm really starting to understand, like I was mentioning, that this isn't about human awareness. This is about moving into this cosmic, this galactic energy of awareness. And I am really being drawn to start to help people to shift out of the human concept of things and move into this bigger awareness. And in this process, in the last couple of days, I've been thinking about, oh my God, this is so new. This is scary. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this, because I'm all about self-love. And here I want to go into this grand scheme of the extraterrestrials and planets and all this. However, a couple of things have come up. One, Kitty speaking about John Casey, me going and looking up this article and unable to read it the first time that I looked at it. Then when I was able to read it,
Edgar.
and that was numerical. I couldn't read it because of the numbers.
Edgar Casey.
Oh,
Edgar Casey, thank you. What he says in there is that the sooner that humans step into this energy of self-love, then we will be connecting in with that in such a bigger way. So I love the awareness that even though I'm shifting and things are feeling possibly scary, and they're not, to me, they're exciting, but some people might be catching the energy of scared. We don't have to be fearful, because ultimately the goal still is self-love. But it's what it brings in that's going to be so wow.
And what Pluto teaches us is nothing stays the same. Yeah. Everything changes. That's the one constant we have. And we can't possibly anticipate everything that will happen to us. So us learning, as Saturn is teaching us to go with the flow in our structures, us learning that the truth of life is nothing is as it appears, everything changes. And the more we know, the more we see, and the more we move our vibration, certainly the more we hear and see and become aware of. Go ahead, Amy, what were you going to say?
I don't know. I was just listening. My Pluto is in my second house in Virgo.
So let's take a look at, so Pluto in the second house is hard to let go.
Okay, stop right there.
Yeah, because it has about, Pluto in the second house is about learning the strengths and worth and values of everything come from within. Nothing is from outside of us. And so having Pluto there is always changing our values, always changing the fact that it isn't about our outside, it's about our inside. That's why it's hard to let go, because just when I think I got it, it moves because of that Pluto.
But that is just the message, Kitty. I have to tell you this. That is just the message exactly that I got in my meditation this morning. Exact message.
Yep. But it doesn't surprise me.
And so you just confirmed it for me.
Right. And that's a big, I think that's one reason why my word is confirmation.
Yeah.
There are so many synchronicities out there happening, you know, between, like, I can just tell you in the last month, Amy and I coming together on this whole, it happens to be a crime and this whole thing. I saw it, she had the information, or Sandra and I with this book. There are so many synchronicities that you're being invited into. And when you're talking about Pluto, find the people that help you transform the way you want to, you know. This is really about, you know, our Chiron for everybody is in Aries, about being our authentic self. And so the second house that she's talking about is really about letting go of that. I'm going to figure all this out. And it's just so interesting because that's the house of Taurus that wants things to be in a certain order. And
yeah, my Taurus is giving me those messages, and I'm just like, no. Well, a little bit of struggle there with that Taurus energy.
So, you know, and I love this no, because it's okay to be resistant, because if you're not ready for it, it will come around and slap you in the face again. Okay. Well, thank you. Right.
And here, Amy, here is an interesting piece of this. That Virgo energy is transiting the sixth house, its native house. Not everything is transiting its native house, but yours happens to be. By the way, it's mine too, because my Pluto happens to be in the sixth house. And it's a transformative period of life where we're embracing those unexpected changes and events, and we're going to be looking for unique perspectives and profound changes in how we approach things, our health habits, profound changes in the habits we develop. And yours is valuing the habits you develop, because that is where Virgo is transiting. So it's really important to know that. I happen to be also 6th house, but my Pluto's in Virgo, so I'm already dealing with that piece of it. But my Pluto's in the 8th house, so I'm looking at the hidden attractions that keep me from doing what I want to transform, and looking at the control issues connected to them. You know, pretty much I've learned years ago, everything comes down to control. Pretty, you know, me learning to let go. Sandra, what was your Pluto? Where was it?
It's in Virgo, 12 or 1, 12. Yeah.
So yours is it's going to be decades in that house, her 12th house, because that Pisces is the 12th house. So she's going to be doing this over and over, though hers is Virgo. So she is going to be doing like it. Her habits are going to be in kind of a constant flux for her. So knowing kind of the reason I like to go over, knowing what the energy is allows me a little more interaction with it. You know, it also gives me a safe place to work it out. If I know I'm working it out in my habits and routines and taking care of myself, when I'm confused about what's transforming, that's where I'm going to go. It gives me another tool to work with it. And, you know, this Pluto, I'm 62 years old. We're talking, you know, I hope I'm around at 82 years old, but there's a good chance that I certainly won't see the next transition beyond that. That would take me into, you know, into my hundreds. I hope to, because maybe actually, I am going to live to be 100. I'm setting that goal right now, we'll say, because I'm working on new healthy habits, new things that take care of me. And because Virgo is those problem-solving energies.
And that's something I want to mention too, is coming into 2022, I loved me, but I didn't necessarily love myself, and stepped into the energy of loving myself in 2022. And in loving myself, I discovered that now I don't need to think about how I'm taking care of my body, as in dieting and exercising. It's more about how do I want to take care of this earthly vessel that I'm in so that I can experience all the things. And that's a big mind shift change. So that's part of this transformation stuff that's coming up as well. It's not necessarily thinking about, you know, Kitty said that she's eating better or doing things, but I don't think she's looking at it like, oh, I'm dieting because I need to lose weight. No, it's actually more about how do I want to be in this world that I'm walking in.
It's how do I want to feel?
You
know, my friend Joanne often talks about your body will reset itself when you pay attention to it. And yeah, I was just listening to Dolores Cannon talk about that. Your body tells you, and part of it is the awareness of what is it telling me. And you know, that's 6th house energy. That's that Virgo problem-solving energy. Now, we just all happen to have this Pluto Virgo combination going here. But you know, there are other ways because where Pluto is about breaking habits, what sign it's in. It's about figuring out new habits that serve you better so that you can transform. You know, it might be a job. It might be how you approach relationships. It might be how you approach wealth and abundance. It might be about how you approach your spirituality. Might be 3rd house. It might be how you speak to yourself. There are so many things. And I encourage anyone, go out, look out in the you know, here's our internet on its Saturn return. And, you know, when people say, oh, the internet or, oh, social media, how you use it is what gets multiplied. I don't have the same issue that I have friends who are like, I don't do anything on social media. Why? Well, because that doesn't happen to me, because that's not what we're magnifying. And Pluto wants us to transform. It is such a time of holding our space in that bigger space. It's not about me It's not coming from outside of me, it's coming through me. I keep telling people, I see this, I told both of these ladies, pillar of light that is pushing through this denser energy, you know, vibrational energy that is denser. That's the fighting, the judging. I'm becoming much more aware of my judgments as we talk about Pluto and Saturn. What are my boundaries? Are they judgment boundaries? Can I let them go? Is there suffering connected to them? Or are they structural boundaries? And then if I can hold that, that light comes back through and helps spread that dense energy.
May I
So,
add a piece to this?
mhm.
Joanne's watching us live on Facebook, and she mentioned how dieting and weight loss is third dimension. And I absolutely love that comment, because this is about us moving from this third dimension. And when we're in that transformation stage, we're in the fourth dimension. And when we're finding inner peace and love and feeling more connected on a continual basis, that's that fifth dimension. So all these mindset shifts, old habit breaking, creating new habits, is how we're moving out of this third dimensional energy into the fourth, and through the fourth into the fifth. And when we're doing that, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Human concept is third dimension. This stuff in between is us learning how to get into that cosmic, that galactic, that other energy that's coming in. That's not coming in, it's literally all around.
Whatever you want to call it, because one of the things I can say in my journey has been, I no longer look for the answers.
Yeah.
It's an evolving process of getting information. And of course, you know, Amy and I are both teachers, so we were lifelong learners to begin with. And so now I'm understanding that that lifelong learning is huge. It is not about me. There isn't a magic bullet or a key, you know, and what, you know, we always say, well, that resonates with me. Do we really believe that sometimes? Are we willing to go with what resonates with us? Or are we looking for a bigger answer? And I know, Amy, magic is in your life this year too.
Yeah, that's my word.
Yep,
Yeah.
magic.
Limitless.
Limitless magic. I love that, you know, and this next month, guys, this is why we're doing this, is it's going to get fast, very fast, because these are bigger energy. These are outer energies that are beyond the daily energies that are Mars and our will, and they're much bigger. And so, you know, take care of yourself. What is that going to mean? A plan for taking care of yourself. We have a week in March. I love to talk about this week. Open your calendars right now and look at the 20th. The 7th, by the way, is when, and it happens to be also the full moon in Virgo. So as Saturn moves into Pisces, this is very receptive day, because that full moon in Virgo is feminine, is about receiving. It's that problem solving, all those little pieces of what can I let go of. And meanwhile, that's when Saturn moves into this Pisces, receiving these new structures, receiving these new flows. But then when we get down to the starting on, well, really the 19th, Mercury moves into Aries. And when Mercury moves into Aries, we really are looking unconsciously, information coming forward for us. It's been in Pisces bringing it forward. Now it's bringing forth an action. So on the 20th, it starts the brand new astrological year. It is the equinox, and the indigenous folks would tell you that on the equinox, the veil is very thin, that they're very close. That's one of the times we can access, and it is considered, you know, and that's the sun magic, Aries. It's a new start, a new astrological year.
And I have a grandson due on the 21st. Now that's his due date. I don't know when he's coming. I often felt he might come a little early, but I don't know. Maybe he'll come on the 20th.
Maybe he'll come on the 20th.
In that portal.
But the 21st is Aries, the Aries new moon. It is the new moon of starting something creative, sparking, setting our intentions for the whole year. They're right next to each other. And then on the 22nd, that is what's called that Heaven's Cross, which is the idea that we've enough people evolved in our consciousness that best way to think about it is we've poked enough holes through that physically will be again, and the veil's already been a little bit is thin because of the equinox. We're really going to be able to access it. It actually is called the apocalypse, and the apocalypse was, you know, carted away by Christianity and made something big and awful. And the apocalypse means is integration. It's a Greek word. And so this is that integrated ability to kind of move between our physical and our soul world. And that's, by the way, it is also Ramadan, which 2/3 of the world will be in prayer. So talk about a very powerful day of energy to access. Then on the 23rd, that's when Pluto moves into Aquarius. So those 4 days, boom, 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 boom. And finally, by the way, on the 25th, depending where you are, some people it will be the 24th because it moves in. And on the 25th, after 7 months, for a planet that usually hangs out 5 weeks in a sign, 7 months, Mars has been in Gemini because it's been asking us to really take a look at our beliefs, really take a look at what we want to experience in our life and align our will. It's been really kind of fuzzy. A new clarity steps forth as it goes into Cancer to nurture what our will is, nurture that step forward, and clarity really rises at that point. So that's a lot of energy in a 5-day span. So I'm already kind of saying, no, I'm not doing anything that week. Naps, walks on beaches, all of those things, a lot of information available. So
I might be watching my other grandkids while my new grandson's coming into the world at that time. Woo, that's
a nice Taurus way to be.
Yeah.
So hanging out with a Gemini and a Pisces, right?
Gemini and a Pisces.
Hanging out with a Gemini and a Pisces. She's got so far. So, and then she'd have an Aries. So she'd have the continuation. Pisces, Aries, you know, and she's the Taurus. So, so she's in there. So there is a lot coming forth. So now I'm gonna and I'm very excited about this time. I'm sure we'll be talking more about it, but I just wanted people to have a heads up to know you've been feeling it. I know both of these ladies have been like, what's going on? It's a big role, and it's just going to take off a lot faster. So I figured, hey, let's have a conversation. So
yeah.
Amy, can we pull some cards maybe that can help?
But right before we do that, I want to say one of the things that,
Sure.
you know, I heard you say, and I think this is a really good point, is, geez, I just lost my train of thought. So it was a lie. No, I'm just teasing. You know, you say that, oh, that must have been a lie. No, something you said about, I don't know. It was something about new stuff coming in, you know, new energies coming in, or new this kind of thing. And it was something about just how you're receiving it, you know, receive it with that. It's changing, you know, like you said, it's not constant, things are going to be changing. It's just the way you're going to approach that. There's a couple of ways you can do it, with just kind of like, okay, what's coming, you know, I'm just ready. I'm waiting for it. Or you can have some resistance, or you can have some fear on it. So there's just, it's so powerful and so strong that, yeah, you can really feel it. But I just want to tell people to, you know, just to be open, just to see what's going on. You know, there's no fear, no resistance. But I know you got something to say, Sandra. What
I do. You just proved, though, what is going on as well, is that things are coming in really quickly. We're going, oh my gosh, this is so incredible, and then it's gone.
Yes.
You proved it. I've done this week. I believe Kitty's done this week. So don't get caught up on, oh, I got to remember what that was, because the point is you caught it in the moment. It's registered somewhere within your makeup.
Okay.
And it's okay.
Okay.
And it is that's why I'm taking the time to synthesize it. Compassion, folks. Compassion for yourself. First of all, compassion for the fact that not everybody knows this, and they're being, I like the word activated instead of triggered, activated by news and what this could be and what road they're, that, oh, well, if that happens, we are looking at limiting things about bodies. We are looking at all of these kinds of things that can be arising in this next few weeks, and how we react to it is what we multiply. So have compassion that not everybody understands, and that Spirit has it. I swear I'm going to just write that every day. Spirit has this.
Just get it tattooed on your forehead. And just look at it every time.
Spirit has this. And sometimes when we don't know what to do, that's, for me, the best thing I can say. You know what, Kitty? Spirit has this. Higher self, take this over. I'm going to go and do something for myself. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go, read a book that isn't, that's mindless. I'm going to go sit and play a game. I'm going to have compassion for the fact that I don't know what to do.
And I'm going to be okay with it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's important.
Okay.
And I'm going to be okay with it.
Yeah.
And it will be fast this month. It will be. And pay attention to what your body tells you. Pay attention. But there is answers everywhere. At the channeling summit I went with, I thought it was so nice sometimes to remember to say, you know what, higher self, you take this. Let me know where we are at this. I thought, oh, that's good. That's one way I can remember, not just to call in my guides and other things, I can call myself in to say, hey, you got this, right? You understand this. Oh, something went flying.
Yeah, I had a flyer. Okay, so I'm just laughing because so in the spirit of what we're talking about, and that because my phrase or words of this year are limitless and magic, I decided to use the Oracle of the Unicorns book or cards. And the one that flew out is called, can you see it?
Yes.
Cycles.
Cycles.
And what it says is everything has its right time. Honor the cycles of your body. Tune into the moon's magic. Well, could that not be a better card than from what we're talking about right now?
Yes, somebody said it, Allie, at her last thing. Remember to ground, get out in nature, tune into the cycles. Perfect.
I love that. And I'm going to pull one more card in case, I don't know, that one flew out. So it wanted to talk. But I absolutely love that because it does feel that way right now. And it feels like it feels like it's going to go fast. And you might be here this minute, but here you might be going over here, not knowing that that's where you were headed. But it's okay. Because it's everything has the right time. Yeah.
It's transforming the structures. Those are the two energies standing out right now.
Oh, okay. And here we go. The next one. Here, maybe if I move my thing. Can you see that?
Awareness.
Awareness. I don't know how to get it in there where you can see it. There we go.
There. And I love that picture. It's not anything in particular. It's just that there's a light, that beam, right?
Live in the moments. Be conscious of your thoughts. Look for signs and guidance. So I think that and this are absolutely perfect for this time, for the month of March.
For the times in which we live, March forward.
Yes, love it, love it, love it.
So anyway, I want to thank Sandra. Have any last minute? I'm going to ask Amy the same thing. Last minute things you want to say, or it's been a wonderful conversation. Thank you, ladies, for coming on and talking about it and holding this space. That's a big theme.
It's definitely been a lot of fun. I know for myself, today I had this huge moment of realizing that even though I thought that what I was stepping into was so brand new for me, other people had already been there and were doing it and probably been doing it for decades. So know that this is all energy, that it has been experienced by some other people or by all of us. And whatever you feel like, oh my God, this is so new, it's only your newness. It's only really new for you in this moment. And as soon as you step into the energy of that awareness that there's a lot of other people out there that are probably already deeply in it, it's finding that. It's like watching those synchronicities like Kitty and I've been having, like Kitty and Amy have been having, just paying attention.
Yeah, I love that.
And finding people, I think I would piggyback on that to saying, finding people to explore this with, you know, the awareness of the cycles needs other eyes, and enjoy your life, magnify what you want. So in gratitude, that is such a huge place for us to hold that vibration, love and gratitude. How about you, Amy? What would you like to say?
Well, I just want to thank you as well. It's been a lot of fun. You know, I learned some stuff about my chart, took a lot of notes for the month of March. And yeah, it's, I think that it's just, you know, the attitude of just going in and of the limitless part is, I just want to enjoy. I just want to enjoy. If something comes into my awareness and I'm like, that sounds really cool, I'm not overthinking it. I'm just like, I'm going to try that. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm okay with that. Well, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that. Just feel like I'm like a big sponge. And I told someone the other day, I want it all. I want to experience it all. That's just my energy. I'm not saying everyone out there is like that, but that's how I'm feeling, that I want these experiences. I want these cycles to come in. I want this new learning, even though it's maybe not new, but I want the new learning for me. So I'm excited about this year. I like this energy coming in. It's really kind of
Yeah, I think that's
maybe optimistic.
well, and that's how we react at everything that comes in is what we're magnifying. There's a gratitude for it, and you know, even there's a gratitude in the no thank you. You know, like for me again, I'll say I no longer look for an answer. I look for answers for what's going on. What's my next best move? My next, you know, my mantra this year: seeking grace in every step I take. You know, compassion and grace. So, you know, to everybody out there, if you're watching this replay, what do you want to hold? What authentic self are you developing? And no matter what happens around you, can you keep that being going? Because not everybody can, and that's the space we're holding, waiting for the other people to access it when they're ready. So blessings to you all. Thank you all out there. Much love. If you have any questions, you know, I'm sure we'll be checking in with this energy, because just rest, take care of yourself, and march forward. Bye, everybody. Thank you, Amy.
March Madness, isn't that what they call it?
Yeah. I'm trying to stay away from
basketball.
Those words.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking basketball.
So the madness can, that's that judgment thing. Madness can also be fun and frivolous, and
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
blessings on everybody. Namaste.